Hey everyone! In today's video, I want to go ahead and share what planners and journals that I've been using for this first quarter of 2026 and how they have been working for me. Starting off with my Hobonichi HON, this is what I consider to be my personal planner and memory keeper all in one book. It's truly been working out pretty perfectly for me so far. I love the A6 size. I don't find myself wishing that I had more space each day. I think it contains everything so compactly in terms of my current day-to-day life and items pertaining to this specific year. If you haven't seen my setup for this planner, I covered up and repurposed some of these spreads in the Hobonichi just for some context as I share my experience in this planner so far. Starting off with the yearly overview, I feel like this works exactly as I had intended for it. Just one potential issue that I've already had with it for the month of February is trying to fit in a lot of different events going on in the month, but I did end up just using one of these small sticky notes from the brand Beverly to write any additional appointments and meetings or whatnot that was going on, and then just stuck it right on top, and that way I can still take it off and see what's underneath there, but also just have a little bit more space to write down extra things that won't fit in the actual page itself. Otherwise, I really like having this area for some future planning within this year, so I really don't have any complaints so far. Moving on to the master bills list right here, I really appreciate seeing all of my bills that will come out in the year all in one area, so again, I don't have any complaints with how this has been working for me. I like to reference this list specifically when I'm setting up my months just to see exactly when the bills are coming out and if there are any particular bills that will only be coming out for one specific month. Next to it is where I have my index, and this is essentially a one line a day. It's very simple to fill in at the end of every day. I feel like it's also just helpful to view my days at a glance and locate any specific memory I'm reflecting on without having to flip through all of the daily pages back here, which I'll show you in a moment, but I find that the index has just been really practical and just kind of a good table of contents type of layout to index the daily pages. And then in terms of these January, February, and March 2027 vertical monthlies, I've set these up to have any future plans that will be happening for the year of 2027. This likely won't get used until later in the year, but I like to have an area in all of my planners just to write down any future events that will be happening after the current year. And I don't have anything written down right now, but once I do, I'll add them on this page here so that when I'm setting up my planner for next year, I can refer back to this area and then just copy them all down in my new planner. Next, then we have my yearly tracker. I use this to track my weight, periods, and workouts. However, I've had a pretty hectic and unexpected start to the year, and unfortunately, it has taken a toll on my weight, so I've stopped tracking that for now, just because I was tracking it every day, just kind of to help my mental health, I guess. But I've been still keeping up with tracking my periods as well as my workouts. And then moving on to the monthly spreads, I use these to write down everything going on during that month, and it just allows me to view everything on the monthly level. I also do my monthly expense tracking on the side here, which I currently have covered up, and then I also include some monthly tasks here at the bottom that basically just sets some priorities or goals that I would like to accomplish within each month. And so far, I don't have any complaints on how these monthly spreads have been working. This has been a reliable system for me for a very long time, and so I find that these are just very beneficial for me, and there's no need to change it at this time. And then moving on to my habit trackers, at the top here, then I just draw some icons to represent the habits that I want to try and complete each day. And then at the end of the month, I take a highlighter and just like to color in the habits that I was able to successfully do every single day of that month. Again, no complaints. I have really been liking to keep track of my habits in kind of this vertical layout for the past couple of years, and so I just find that it's very practical and helpful, and also just helps to hold me accountable to make sure that I'm still completing these things. And then moving on, these were a couple of additions that I wanted to add just for fun in this planner for 2026. Starting off with the pen show savings, I feel like this has been going pretty well so far. For context, I'll be going to my first pen show this summer, which I'm very excited for. I wanted to set some sort of budget so I don't go crazy while I'm there, and I feel like this has been keeping me motivated to save for it as well. So I'm very excited to hopefully be able to fill this up within the upcoming months here. As for my 30 while 30, this is essentially a bucket list of 30 things that I want to accomplish this year now that I am 30. I still have to come up with 3 more tasks down here, so I would love to know if you have any suggestions on what I should add to this list. I think that that could be pretty fun, and I'd love to hear and consider your ideas. As far as the ones I already have down, I've been able to complete 10 of the items so far, which I think is pretty good for being a quarter into the year. But yes, if you have some fun suggestions on what these last 3 should be, I'd love to hear your ideas. Now moving on to the daily pages, and kind of like this blank monthly page that precedes the daily pages, I've been liking to use the top section for a monthly media tracker. Now, I've been really enjoying keeping track of what shows or movies I've been watching, as well as any music that I've been listening to and books that I've been reading. I think that this especially comes in handy for future me when I'm trying to remember if and when we watched something, or when I read this book, or when I first discovered this artist. It's an easy way for me to look back and see what I was into at the time. And then starting in February, this was when I added the games category, since I've been having bi-weekly game nights with my siblings and I wanted to keep track of when we played specific games, and that's just been really nice to see as well. So the media trackers have just been, again, very simple and straightforward, and I just really love being able to come back and fill in the things that I've been consuming each month. And then below that, I like to leave the section blank so that at the end of the month, I can come in with some pictures that I ended up taking from the month and just paste them in here. So I make a collage on my phone and print it out using my HP Sprocket printer. After that, then I just go ahead and cut out the pictures and paste them in this section here. And I just really love being able to see the actual photos from the month. So having this little area to act like a scrapbook section really makes me enjoy flipping through my planners and just allows me more memories for me to revisit and reflect on. Now, in terms of the dailies, this is where I spend the majority of my time when I have my planner out. I have a lot that goes into these pages. Starting at the top, this is where I like to write my daily tasks related to my cats. I like to add various cat stickers next to the tasks just to fill up that space there. And then in the top right corner is where I write down what day of my cycle that I'm on. Between the timeline and the secret line is where I write down my to-dos, appointments, meetings, events, etc. Anything productivity related. On the other side of the secret line is where I write a daily journal entry about anything that is currently on my mind at the time. And then lastly, somewhere on the page, I'll also include a little daily painting that essentially captures a specific moment from that day. So although this is where I spend most of my time in my planner every day, I really do enjoy filling in these daily pages. I enjoy keeping my tasks on one side and having it all be written with a black gel pen, which is very convenient to keep on hand, and then to have my journal entries be with a fountain pen. I like having the variety of utensils and colors. I've been trying to match the color of the fountain pen ink to the monthly color in the Hobonichi, which has been a fun challenge, and I've been enjoying your feedback in helping to choose the ink in my monthly plan with me videos as well. I've also been trying to match a zebra mild liner to every month as well to highlight my intermittent fasting on the timeline each day. The daily paintings are a new iteration of something that I've been doing for several years now, something that I used to call my daily doodles. However, this year I wanted to challenge myself by adding watercolors to them, and I've been really loving it. It does add a few more minutes to these daily doodles, but I think the paint just gives the memories more life and personality. This has been one of my favorite things to do every day in my planner. I will be honest though, in that since I started a new job recently, my schedule's been much more full, and I've had a handful of days where I've had to catch up on my doodles. Some days I'm really busy and therefore am unable to finish the painting, but there are other days where I'll have time to catch up on a few days at a time, and I feel like I've been able to find somewhat of a good balance to just catch up on everything after a couple of days. So I really don't mind that at all, and this has been such a joy to fill in all of the pages. Now moving on all the way back here to the back pages, this first one being the when did I last. I think this has been working pretty well for me and has been serving its purpose. It's very simple, and I just flip back to this page every now and then to remind myself of what specific things haven't been done in a while. It mainly pertains to like cleaning certain parts of my house. And I usually like to look at this when I am setting up a new month to see what I can add to my monthly to-do list. My husband was able to assist with some of these tasks, so I ended up marking these with a T for his first initial. The rest are marked with an X if I ended up completing them. And then in terms of my monthly recaps, I have no issues with these. I like to print out one image from the month and write a journal entry alongside it just to summarize what happened throughout the month. I really like having this process as a way to reflect on the month that just passed. Next, then I have a wish list back here. It's pretty self-explanatory. I come in here every now and then to add items that I'd like to get my hands on eventually. I did already purchase the top 2 items that I talked about in a recent video. I'll leave it here in case you missed it. But yeah, that is basically it for my Hobonichi HON. Overall, I am so incredibly pleased with how this planner has been working out for me so far this year. Things can certainly change the further we get into the year, but as far as Q1, I've really been enjoying it, and I don't plan on changing anything for Q2. Moving on, I have my work bullet journal. This was something that I ended up starting at the end of February just because that was when I started my new job. This is essentially a DIY planner that I made to keep track of my work tasks, as well as any meetings and just taking some like work notes as well. I essentially just wanted a notebook that had a lot of pages to set up my own layouts whenever I needed to in between my notes, and something that wasn't restricted to only 1 year and could be used indefinitely until the notebook was finished. So my goal is that this notebook would essentially last me like a couple of years in this current position. I like being able to have the flexibility of drawing out my monthly layouts as well as my weekly layouts, kind of like integrated with all of the notes that I am currently being trained on for like the tasks that I'm doing at my current job. So I think that this has just been working out perfectly for me. I have absolutely no complaints. It was exactly what I was needing and exactly what I was just expecting out of my work bullet journal. So that's basically it. Nothing too crazy or anything. I don't feel like I really need to go too much into detail about it, but if you would like to know a little bit more about my setup and kind of like the rationale behind it and everything, then go ahead and check out the video that I'll link right here. The next item in my lineup is essentially a diary, something for me to just write down all of my deepest, darkest thoughts. This one in particular is from the Washi tape shop, and I always have an extra notebook with me alongside my planner, which I use to write down anything that's on my mind. It's where I do my long form journaling, content planning, brainstorming, swatches, you name it. So I go through these a lot faster than I do with my planners. It usually takes me a few months to fill one up, so I like to use this as a way to experiment with different notebooks. Like I said, the one that I'm currently in right now is from the Washi tape shop, but I've used many other brands in the past, ones that are from Target, and then Leuchtturm, Archer and Olive, Notebook Therapy, just to name a few. But I really love this system of having a separate notebook for all of my deeper and private thoughts, as well as having a place where I can just do like some brainstorming and just get whatever is on my mind out onto paper. Next, then I have my Midori 10-year diary. This is the second year that I've been using this. I think that it's been holding up beautifully. I pretty much just take a couple minutes every night before bed to write down a few lines from the day, basically just summarizing or like recapping any specific events. But I just really love the practice of reflecting back on the day and finding things to be grateful for. I'm also very sentimental and love looking back on the memories from the year before. And then of course, as the years go on, then I'll just be able to reflect back on all of the previous years. But I have no complaints, and I just really look forward to when this is all complete and I'll be able to have 10 years of daily memories all in a single book. Next is a Leuchtturm A6 dotted journal. This has a hardcover to it, and this is what I basically dubbed my life book. It's something that I'll update and expect to keep in my rotation for the foreseeable future, since it's essentially a record keeper. I made this last summer and it's already been so useful and handy. The first section is just dedicated to a list of important dates in here that end up carrying over year to year and isn't just specific to like 2026 or something like that. I also have a record log of home improvement we've done to our house over the years, including the date, the contractor info, if we hired someone, the service description, and then also if there was a bill amount. This just helps me keep track of when we got work done to our house over the years. And then I also have a section for vehicle maintenance, just to keep track of when we get our vehicle serviced, like oil changes or like rotating tires and stuff like that. I also have an area to keep track of my 2 cats' appointments, and also just seeing like what the specific appointment was for, as well as any medications that they were taking. Then I have that written down here as well. I also have a list of my appointments and when I went to them and what they were for. Next, then I have an area for commonplacing, and I've just been writing any like quotes or lyrics that I've really liked and want to just have in my back pocket basically, and reflect on and refer to when needed. Next, then I have an area for the medications. This probably would have made more sense to have it like closer to my appointments area, but it is what it is. But yeah, this is just a list of the medications that I've taken over the years, and when I started them, when I ended them, if I did, and then like the reasoning for it. And then I also have an area for things to check out, like books, movies, TV shows, and music. And then if I've been able to check them out, then I can go ahead and just cross them out. Next, I also have an area for commonly misspelled words, just something that I like to have when I'm out and about, but I want to avoid pulling my phone out because I can easily get distracted by other things and completely forget the reason why I even pulled my phone out and opened it in the first place. So there's that. And then I also have like kind of some random lists back here. I was inspired by a video that I saw a while back from, I think it was that journaling guy, where he basically has like a book where he keeps lists of like random topics and stuff just to kind of have as like conversation starters, and I thought that that was just such a great idea. So I wanted to go ahead and include a few of those all the way in the back here. But that's basically it for this little guide. I also have a separate video talking a little bit more about it, so I'll go ahead and link that here if you'd like to check that out and if you haven't seen it. But again, I don't have any complaints about this. This is something that I've been really needing in my life to just keep track of things for like multiple years at a time rather than just focusing on 1 year at a time in my planners. So I just feel like this system has been working out beautifully for exactly the reasons that I intended. And then lastly, I have this cute little guide. This is a Midori A7 graph notebook, and I recently acquired this. I've been using it to jot down any observations and specific behaviors of my 2 cats. I just write down a couple sentences for the morning and evening every single day, just to help highlight any specific patterns or changes that may occur over time that might not be very noticeable right away, if that makes any sense. I've really been enjoying filling this in, but the only thing is that it's also been pretty easy for me to forget to fill it out. So there have been a few times where I've had to play catch up and try to remember what happened on what day, but other than that, I feel like it's already been helping me be more attentive, and I've been just having better peace of mind knowing that I can reference this when I need to later down the road. Well, we made it to the end. If you're still here, thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you've enjoyed seeing how my planners and journals have been working for me so far this year. I'd love to know what planners and journals you've been using so far this year and how they're going. I love chatting with you guys. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.